everybody. It's your girl, Nisi, and I don't know what's going on with my green screen tonight. But tonight we have Miss Alice Williams. She's a mover and shaker. I dubbed her myself the real Olivia Pope. So we're gonna bring her on. My partner Tink will be on in just a second. I hope everybody has had a great week and kind of re-energize, and you're gonna go back into your Monday and have an even better week. So I'm gonna bring in Miss Alice Williams, and she's gonna tell us more about herself, and she's gonna drop some gems for y'all. If you're planning on having a business, want a business, don't know where to get started, that's what we're here for over here. We're trying to motivate you guys, educate, become a network system so we can refer people to people who know more than we do. So Miss Alice is definitely one of those people, and I'm trying to welcome her on.
Hello,
Hey,
everyone. Hi, how are you?
I am so happy you are over here tonight. I know you're gonna drop some gems and knowledge on us tonight. So you could go ahead and introduce yourself and tell everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. You said Olivia Pope. As I can remember that show, that was all
Yeah,
about the White House. I don't
scam.
think I have any of those secrets.
But I'm saying I feel like you're a mover and shaker in what you do,
I
and
appreciate that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Anise, I really appreciate you having me on, you and your co-host. I'm very happy to be able to pass along knowledge, and I'm glad you sought me out to be able to do so. Like she said before, my name is Alice Williams. I'm here in the DMV, which is the Washington, D.C. area. A little bit about my background. I actually retired, did 38 years civil servant in the Department of Defense. I actually retired as one of the highest ranking African Americans in the Department of Defense Office of Small Business Programs. I ran their social economic program. For short, I ran their small business programs, which assisted small business in getting government contracts. Back then, I was mandated by Congress to make sure that I achieved socioeconomic goals. And what that meant for industry is small businesses had an advantage to get access to government contracts. So there were like 6 preference groups. We had
Mhm.
the small business, women owned, hub zones, veteran owned, small disadvantaged business, which was the 8A. And in that, we were mandated by Congress through SBA, Small Business Administration. And I'm going to use a lot of acronyms. So I hope
Mhm.
I'm able to explain what each of them are. But in that, what we did was ensure that minority owned businesses got an opportunity to bid fairly on government contracts. I did
Okay.
that for 38 years. So that's over 38 years. I'm a key leader in the government field. I was a former contracting officer. What that meant is I was actually awarded contracts. So I had an unlimited contracting officer award. I'm a procurement official, acquisition level 3 certified in my field. So they call me the subject expert in my field. When I
Okay.
retired 3 years ago, back in 2018, I actually retired on April Fool's Day. And I can remember the leadership there saying, "You're not going to retire. It's April Fool's. You're fooling us." I'm like, "No, I'm really retiring." I, I walked out on April the 1st, 2018. I launched AMW Acquisition and Consulting Group on April the 2nd. And immediately I had more business than I had infrastructure. So
Okay.
I had to take a short pause and revamp and get my business up and running. And at the time, I had several businesses, and I could talk a little bit about that later. But I revamped my business, got the infrastructure together, and came out. And I've been very fortunate though, because as a professional, key level person inside the government, then coming out on the civilian side, I've been very fortunate that I don't have to go find work. I'm so connected in what I do. People find
Mhm.
me. So I've been very fortunate in that. So that's kind of my background, how I got to where I am today.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna pause so I can introduce my co-host. That's Miss Tink Wiles, the
Hi,
owner
Miss
of
Tink. How are
Secret
you?
Swan. So
Good.
go ahead and tell
I'm
us
sorry,
about.
I was having connection issues, so I apologize for being late.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you as well.
Thank you so much.
Hey, everybody in the chat, and thank you. I tried to go from grandma to the girlfriend in 30 minutes. So,
Looking good. So my name is Pink
Go
Wild, the
ahead and
hairdresser.
tell us about your products.
Can
I'm
you
sorry,
hear me?
I didn't hear you.
Can you
I
hear
was,
me?
I was, yeah, I can hear you, Tink. I
Okay.
was telling Tink to go ahead and introduce herself, and then we're gonna continue on.
All right. So I'm Tink the Hair Fairy, and I make all things natural. And so everything is made fresh from almond seeds. And my product, Lady H, that's the one that I love, good for scalp and definitely for this fall, packed with natural proteins. And then the one that Nisi loves,
Ooh, ooh, ooh,
don't
ooh.
have that. This one, this is the ginger ale face one.
Oh, you ain't got my oil.
Look,
That's
they look the same. I went to grab it and I was like, oh, that's the same.
I'm gonna
Look,
need for
see,
you to
thing.
use contacts, okay?
There it is, right here. The last one. These things been selling. So anyway, ginger ale.
That's my oil there.
That's the last one I got. I gotta make some more. Anyways, but so for all things new hair growth and now face and skin as well. And so that's me. And so back to you, Miss Queen of the DMV.
Thank you.
Okay, so your business now, what do you focus on right now?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for asking that question. What I've done is taken my 38 years in federal government and transitioned into industry. So
Okay.
AMW Acquisition and Consulting Group is a consulting company specializing in helping large and small businesses maneuver through the government procurement system.
Okay.
And so I do a range of business development, strategic planning, proposal assistance, advisory. But most importantly, what my business does is get companies in front of key leaders that supports the federal government.
Okay.
I currently have several contracts right now. I work with Minority Business Development Agency, which is a nonprofit organization that supports the Department of Commerce. And likewise, they do the same thing I do. They hire me as a consultant. So I have several consultant type contracts like that,
Mhm.
where I support either organizations or businesses in consulting through the federal government. I also have private consulting contracts where I assist actual companies and
Mhm.
maneuvering through the government process. So that's what AMW Acquisition Consulting Group does.
Okay, so as far as the businesses, is it select businesses that you work with, or do you work with any business?
What I try to do, I specialize in federal government contracts. So the business I typically work with are seasoned businesses. They're not startup, and I like to explain the difference between a startup business and a seasoned business, because what I find is a lot of people come to me and say, I want to get into government contracting and I want to become a contractor to do business, but they don't understand the process. This is not an overnight success. It's not something that you just, I have an idea, I start, and then tomorrow you're rich. It's not that way. Most
Mm.
companies that come in, they go through a process where they actually learn the system and they bid on the contracts and they win and they become multimillionaires over a period. I've made a lot of people multimillionaires when I worked on the inside. Now coming out, I do the same thing. And so it happens over a period of time. Sometimes it takes between 1 to 5 years. There
Mhm.
are government programs in place that allow small minority-owned businesses to get specialized preferences. So, for instance, you can get in the SBA Small Disadvantaged Business Program, which is the 8A program, and you can get sole source contracts up to $6 million per contract. But that means that you have to understand the procurement system. You have to understand a little bit how to maneuver, because if you get into that program and you have 9 years to be successful, the clock starts the day you're awarded as a minority-owned small disadvantaged business. That clock starts then. You have 8 to 9 years to become successful. Most businesses fail in the
Mhm.
first 3 years because they don't understand. They get their 8A certification and then they don't know how to market themselves. So that's
Mhm.
where I come in. 8A companies they seek me out to help them market their company to the government. So I train them on how to set themselves up for success, how to understand government procurement, how to identify what organization that they should go to start getting government contracts, how to create their briefing presentation, what are the expectations, help them develop their 30-second elevator speech, whatever the case may be. My job is to make sure that they're successful.
Okay. So, let's say that you get your SBA loan and things don't go your way. What is kind of a little bit of the process that happens if you aren't
Mhm.
successful in your business?
So you said SBA loan is SBA preference. So
Okay.
SBA, Small Business Administration, have a host of tools and resources within their organization to help minority businesses. The
Okay.
one that I'm specifically speaking of is the Small Business Program, and that Small Business Program have preference group. And yes, there are some things that you will go through in terms of making mistakes in the beginning. And so one thing out the box, the first thing you need to know when you're doing business with the federal government is you have to register to do business with the government. They have a system called SAM, System for Award, System Management for Award System. It's called SAM. Everybody who does business with the federal government have to register in that system. And that system requires you to do several things. First, you have to be a business. I mean, you have to LLC yourself and all the normal things that you do to become a business. And
Mhm.
then you register in SAM. Once you in SAM and you approve, you automatically are ready to do business with the federal government. You don't even have to go to SBA. But
Okay.
SBA have a lot of tools there that minorities can benefit from. And one is, as a woman owned, there's three of us women owned businesses here. If we
Mhm.
wanted to register for SBA preferences, we can register for women owned business. We also are minority. We can register to be an 8A, small disadvantaged business. If you're in a hub zone area, which is an underutilized area, you can also register to be part of that. If you're a veteran, you can have all these preferences if you meet the requirements. And each preference by regulation will allow you to get some type of preference through award if you qualify. Now, some of the downfalls that I see when people go get their 8A or the women on or whatever the case may be, they ask for entitlement. And so the way that they market themselves, they say, well, I'm an 8A, where's my contract? I deserve this. When
Mhm.
that is not the case. And so one of the things that I do is teach small businesses right out the gate how to compete. Because once you compete, the sole source contracts will automatically come. So if you have the mindset that you can compete with, someone who's your competitor, you don't have
Mhm.
to worry about it. So when you go in, you say, not only I can compete for this, but I'm also 8A. And that's another way that you can get me. And they can easily give you a sole source contract. Now, what I find the challenges is when you get that 8A contract or you're awarded a government contract and say it's in the professional services field, and I'm just giving an example, and the government give you 20 FTEs, that's full-time equivalents, meaning people. They want you to bring in 2 people to insource for something, some kind of job they have within the government.
Okay.
If you get this contract and you can't find 20 people, you just set yourself up for failure. So you have to do a lot of work. And what I tell small companies is instead of trying to go out the door priming contracts, and the prime contract meaning that you've been awarded the contract, do subcontracting. And
Mhm.
so you can have a 49-50 relationship. If you find somebody who's already in the business, who's already 8A, you can partner with them and you can get 49% of the business, but all the requirements and the regulation falls on them, not on you.
Okay.
Right? And that's the way you can start growing your business until you can become a prime, where you have the resources to go out and bid. A lot of times when you do a prime sub relationships, you may be one person just starting, you don't have the infrastructure to be able to write proposals, to do pricing, to really
Right.
understand the rules. Well, you're going to use that experienced contractor to help you do all that until you learn the system or you can get an infrastructure in place that you can stand on your own.
I know that's something that my son is looking into because he's in the military right
Mhm.
now. but he wants to actually contract with the government and do some of the same things that he's doing now, as far as well, I really can't say his job. Um,
Right.
and that's something that he's really looking into because he
Yep.
really wants to live in Japan. So this is a lot of helpful information.
Yeah,
Um,
a lot of military persons that come out, officers or enlisted, when they come out the military, like myself, they go right back in and they do something, right? And
mm,
so what I tell the people who's interested in becoming an entrepreneur and want to do the business on their own, instead of going to work for an organization under a W-2, ask them LLC yourself and come in as a 1099, because
mhm.
1099, then you're your own
I'll
business.
raise my hand. I'm ready now.
Yeah, you're your own
I
business.
will raise my
Right. So
hand
what
because
happens
I'm
is, say you're working for Boeing and you just, got the military, you program manager, PEO, PE, whatever the case may be, and you go work for Boeing. Well, you have two options. You can go as a W-2 where they pay your health insurance, pay your salary, they pay everything. Or you
Mhm.
can say, I want to be an independent contractor and 1099 me. Now, the disadvantage is you have to be responsible for your own insurance, but your son, in his case, he's in the military. He's always going to have insurance. He's going to have
Mhm.
retirement, just like myself. I'm always
Mhm.
going to have my retirement check. It's going to come in every month, whether I do
Right.
anything at all, right? But but I still run my businesses, right? But I'm required to have my own insurance. I'm required to pay my own taxes. Now that is a challenge in itself.
Yes.
You
Yes.
do have to pay taxes, but it's a way to be able to do that as well. So I tell those people who come to me freshly out the government, whether it's military or civilian, and they want to go on business for themselves, 1099 yourself. Just go LL yourself, LLC yourself, 1099, and continue to do what you always been doing. You won't see anything different. It's the same thing. It's just that you are entrepreneur. Miss Tink, I see your hand is
Okay,
well,
go
thank
ahead.
you for acknowledging me. I have a question.
up. Yes, ma'am.
So I worked for the government as a contractor for 20 years. So I had a question. What companies have you worked with?
As a independent contractor or within the government?
No, as doing your job now, the
No,
AMZ.
yes, yes. So I work with several companies currently today. I have a medium-sized portfolio because I run the acquisition business myself. My daughter is my president, and I teach her everything. But when people hire me, they want me. They don't want nobody else.
Mhm.
But I work with major, large corporations. As I said before, I have a contract with Department of Commerce under Minority Business Development Agency. I work with GovCon Pro. I've done some work with a bunch of small companies. I mean, I would be all day long trying to name them, but the large companies, you got Dell, you got HP, you got AT&T, you got Verizon, you got Boeing, you got Leidos, you got LMI. I've worked with all these companies, and I've been fortunate because a lot of people that I work with on the inside are now on the outside working for these companies. So we partner together, or they reach back to me as a resource to
Mhm.
ask me to help them out. A lot of military officers, general officers, they reach back to me as well to assist them.
Okay.
So
Did
have
I
you
name the company you work with?
um you didn't name any that I worked with, but some
Okay.
that have tried to work with me. But
Okay.
I used to work for like Booz Allen and
Oh,
Lockheed
yeah.
Martin
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
typically the top tens or whatever.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I used to work with them, but I've worked for some smaller ones as well and worked on, proposals and things of that nature. There was a point that I wanted to um do my own business. And so
Mhm.
it's funny, that's why I said, I had a question when you said the 1099, because I always thought, I feel like that's a lot less work than actually going in and try to register yourself, especially for federal government.
Mhm.
Now, I
Mhm.
don't know what sides of the federal government do you work with? What agencies, I guess,
So
have
I
you
worked
worked
with
with?
Department of Defense for 38 years, 26 years with the Army. My portfolio consists of $190 billion a year.
That's
I
good.
had over 700 employees.
So you say you have over 700 employees?
I had over 700 employees on the inside.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And with your current business, how many do you have?
It's just the three of us. I have three people currently, and I outsource. So there are a lot of things that I do in my business that I don't have time to do, like proposal
Mhm.
writing. I can write proposals. I can do pricing. I can do business development. Instead of me doing it, I outsource that. So even
Yeah.
though I don't have people on my current payroll, I outsource that when I need it. So it just
Yeah.
depends. It
Yeah.
depends on what it
Mhm.
is. I
And
try
so
not
what
to
the
go too
DOD is very big. What parts
yeah.
of the DOD? What agencies?
So in DOD, I ran an off. I was the director, deputy director, Office of Small Business Programs for the whole
Oh,
Department of
that's
Defense.
amazing.
Yeah.
No, so that's amazing. So no, I mean, your business now. What
Mhm.
um what I guess contracts have you helped people win for the federal government?
Yeah,
That's
I won't go into the details of
Right.
the actual contracts, but my ultimate job is to make sure that they win a contract. So even though my consulting agreements are retainments, I do per hourly, depends on what type of contract it is. So I do retainers, and in that retainer, they retain me to do specific things. So it may be I need to get in front of this key leader to talk about something, right?
Mhm.
Or I can get them into 6 or 7 meetings, but ultimately is to get them to win a contract. So I've helped so many businesses win contracts. I won't go into number of details of the names of the businesses, but
Yeah,
I'm
no.
very,
I
yeah.
meant like the names of the federal agencies or at least
Oh,
a name of a federal agency, not the names of the businesses.
oh,
Because I
absolutely. Department of Defense, the Army,
yeah,
uh,
Department of Defense is big.
DHS, HHS. You can go, I can name Air Force, Navy, Army, all
Yeah,
those.
that's I'll just
Yeah,
because there's so many different
right.
parts of
So
and there and within
I want to
and
change
within
the mindset about the magnitude of the number of people I dealt with in DOD.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at DOD, you work for these large agencies, so you would know. But if you look at DOD, we here and we got hundreds of agencies under us, right? So my reach back was that strong. I can reach back to anybody within Department of Defense as a resource. And so that's why companies seek me out. I'm very well known in industry. I did public speaking for the Department of Defense, so I traveled all over the country,
Mm-hmm.
Old Coldness as well, doing public speaking. So I'm very well known in the industry and probably know some of your colleagues as well. And so these folks
yeah,
seek me out to help them maneuver through the government process. And I can go anywhere in DOD. So you name an agency, I'm sure I've been there because they fell under me. Some of the civilian agencies may be challenging, but luckily for me, a lot of the folks that work for me are now working in some of the civilian agencies. So my reach back expands over to civilian agencies as well.
that's
Wow.
amazing. I think
Mm-hmm,
that's really good.
Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, I was just trying to get clarification because for me, I know I have idea in my mind. I've always had an idea of agencies that I used to work for, who know me and my skill set that, you know what I mean? And like doing 1099s and stuff for places like that. But, as you go to I was trying to get an idea of the area that you work in. It seems like, as far as the DOD parts, it seems like you work with more like 4 letters than, you know what I mean? And
three-letter
military.
agencies as well. I just didn't mention them. Okay.
Well,
I
that's
go
why I
all the
asked.
way down, all the way down in the Black world as well. So,
Okay.
we have a tendency to not talk about the Black world. You just mention them, three-letter agency, and that's it. But when you look at DOD, I'm DOD wide, and I have a reach back in DOD,
Oh,
and,
that's
and most of
amazing.
the civilian
I
agencies
think
as
that's
well.
amazing. That's why I dub you the Olivia Pope of your field.
Ah, thank you so much. That's just one business. I have several businesses.
Okay, get into
Um,
another
right.
business.
Yeah, I mean, what I've decided to do as an entrepreneur, since I know I'm retired, I get a paycheck every month. Whether sleep all day and do nothing, that check is gonna come.
Right.
I retired right at 55. I was 55 years old when I retired, and I knew I wasn't finished, and that's why I started the acquisition company. But before that, I had a concierge business. My concierge business is dormant now because it got shut down because of COVID. So it's sitting on the shelf. I still do the tax stuff and get the write-offs, but sitting on the shelf. But I have a bottled water company, and I have a home and health care company as well, and a couple other things I'm doing. But what I've decided to do is no longer about me, because I've had my career and I know how to start businesses. I know how to make money. And so it's about taking care of my children and leaving a legacy. I left a legacy in the Department of Defense, and my kids eat off of that every day. I want them to leave their own legacy. So these businesses that I've started now is to support my children. My daughter is vice president of all my companies. And because I spent a lot of time teaching her how to be independent and be, self-sufficient and be an entrepreneur herself.
Mm-hmm.
Where have you ever been to Laurel?
Laurel, Maryland?
Yeah.
Have I ever been there?
Yeah.
Yes. I get my hair done in Laurel.
I feel like I've seen you before.
You may have.
Do you know somebody named Terry?
Terry who?
It's a
I know a
guy.
lot of Terrys.
He used to be like a security guard, a bouncer.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so.
Oh.
I can't say I don't, because what happens is, I tell you, a lot of people
You
know
met a
me.
lot of
A
people.
lot of people know me, and they walk up to me and say, "Hey, I'm such and such. You don't remember me?" But when I was on the inside and I did public speaking, I used to speak to thousands and thousands. You've been to those conferences. It's 4,000 people in there, and I barely could get out the room. I walk off the stage, and the line is way around the corner. I don't even have a minute to myself. So I meet a lot of people, and they walk up to me and say, "Hey, don't you remember me?" And I really don't, unless you're a personal friend of mine, or we're working together, or we worked on the inside together. It's very rare that I will remember.
YouTube Studio provides at-a-glance and in-depth analytics to help you analyze your videos and your channel. From the YouTube Studio dashboard, you can see the performance of your latest video compared to your typical video performance. You'll see how it ranks against your last 10 videos.
Turn your mic out so you get it off.
Okay, I can hear now.
Okay, is it off? Okay. So,
No, I just wanted to know. So what area do you, I guess, I'm not trying to give out your address. I'm just trying to figure out.
I'm born and raised in Alexandria, Virginia. So I'm a native of Alexandria, graduated T.C. Williams High School, where, the movie, Remember the Titans? Remember that movie? Coach Boone was my gym teacher. I was in that era, but I live at the National Harbor.
Oh, wow.
National Harbor, Maryland.
oh wow, I bet you got a beautiful view.
I do. Thank you. And I really do. I enjoy it over here. I've been here. Honestly, I've actually owned over here since 2009. And I bought when it was dirt. There was nothing here.
Oh, wow.
It was mud. I didn't even know what I was buying. It was like, hey.
You were like, there's a piece of land in Maryland that's open. I'll take it.
They advertised it, and I was on this waiting list for 5 years. And then one day I get this phone call saying, "Hey, we want you to come and see, National Harbor." And I came over, and it was a bunch of mud. I'm walking in mud, and I walk in this trail, and they sold me a picture.
Okay.
And I had no idea that it was going to be all this when I bought.
That's amazing.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, so I think one of the reasons I think Nisi probably was having you go into all the acquisition stuff is because she knows I'm fascinated in that stuff, and that's like a world that I came from. Okay. And but as far as your other businesses, what made you branch out, I guess, and start doing those?
Well, for me, I don't have a problem taking a risk. Being on the inside, working in the office, I've worked over 15 years at DOD and working with the Army. I've made so many people multimillionaires. Like, I can remember when they didn't have a dime, they started their business, had nothing. I talk to these same people today, and they 15 million strong, 3, 4, 5 million shopping. I mean, they really doing it right. And they always come to me and say, "Oh, Miss Williams, thank you so much." You know, they always like, you just don't know. I get invited to all the events, you know, all the parties, and I watch how they live. And I was like, you know, when I was on the inside, all I could get was a salary. Now I got a very healthy salary, but
you were doing government when you were inside.
Right. When I was inside.
Yeah, because you were military prior, right?
I was never military. I did all my civilian. No, I climbed a ladder. I was very fortunate that I had some very good people that supported me. I had mentors. They selected me. I was very fortunate. Every now and then when you come up through the system, the senior leaders will find someone that they kind of like and want to groom. And I happened to be one of those people. So I came in at age 16 and I worked my way all the way to the top, and I've never applied for a job. These senior leaders told me when to go to school. They told me when it was time for me to be promoted. They gave me the very difficult jobs to do, the very hard tasks that nobody wanted. It was very challenging, but they believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And I had no idea the value that I brought or the knowledge that I had until these people came into my life. So what I do now, and I spend a lot of time getting back. I'm still part of the system. I do meetings with senior leaders every day to identify up and coming, the next person up, basically, as you say, but up and coming senior leaders that are ready, that need to be groomed. I went to etiquette school. I mean, they teach you everything, you know, things that I didn't even believe I needed to know. That I thought I was like doing it until I went to school and was like, oh, okay. All the way down to understanding personality types. I typically can know people's personality 30 seconds in, you know, in my presence. So,
well, what's Anisi's personality?
Oh my God, don't do that.
Yeah, we're gonna do it. What's Anisi's? And what's mine?
So since you are kind of government related, you understand Myers-Briggs?
Yeah.
Okay. So they teach you as leaders the Myers-Briggs assessment, and they have different tools. Myers-Briggs is a little bit older, but I maintained it because it worked for me. So I use Myers-Briggs assessments to manage my business, to manage my household, to manage my children, to manage everything basically. And it gives me the ability to understand people. And you have to know, before I go into Nisi's personality, you have to know
I'm so excited.
The Myers-Briggs assessment is not necessarily about the person, right? It's about me. I had to understand me, what triggers me, why, you know, what I needed to do to make adjustments to understand people. And I'll give you a perfect example. My personality type is ISTJ. So I'm really introverted, but I work in an extrovert environment. So I use a lot of energy. So it's energy that I don't like using. You know, as an introvert, you want to be alone. You like to do things on your own. So people drain me. So at the end of the day, when an E, which is Nisi, is going to the bar, Alice is going shopping or going somewhere and read a book, because I have to regain or recharge my energy back. And so I'm an ISTJ, sensing I'm very analytical. You know, I want to see the policies. I'm not going to break no laws. You know, that I'm a T, I'm a thinker. I'm going to make a decision, right, wrong, and different. I'm going to stick to it, right? The same thing as judging. I'm going to make that decision after I've done all the assessment. You can't do nothing to change my mind once I make that decision, and I live with it. Now, Nisi's personality, and I've only talked with her for a few minutes in the beginning of the program, and I'm going to say definitely she's an E. She has a very outgoing personality, right? You're an E as well. You're an E. You're an extrovert, and I can see that right away. What I don't know is whether she's a S or N, intuitive. So I'm going to say she's probably more of an N, just the near fact that she has this podcast that's going. Like, you know, she's a thinker. She's looking in the future. And if I'm wrong, just say I'm wrong. But, you know, you're looking in the future, trying to build things. You can see things. You're not just a here and now. You want to build some stuff. And likewise, I think you also have an ENT. I think you, much like me in the T area, where you're going to analyze it, you're going to research it, you're going to, before you make, and I think you're a J like me. So I think you're an ENTJ. And if you get an opportunity, go out and it's a 30-second test, Myers-Briggs. You can do assessment, just Google it, do a 30-second test and just confirm whether I'm right or not. But I know I'm not that far off. I'm not that
What
far
am I?
I think you're ENTJ is what I think you are. I think Niecy may have an F in her personality, so her T may be an F. You might be a little touchy-feely. And what I'm no
who her?
Niecy,
Niecy or me?
Niecy, you're not touchy-feely? Okay, so I might be right then.
Mm-hmm.
I think you think she's touchy-feely?
I think she's a space invader.
I
not me.
I have no F in my personality type at all.
I don't know. I think Niecy I think she has the potential to be touchy with people that she's comfortable with. That's what I think. That's my opinion.
Like,
she could be in between.
Somebody, like,
she could be in between. She could be in between. And so let me just give you an example. With my ISTJ personality type, as a leader, when I needed to motivate people, I had to understand how they think. So, if you were, say, a ESFP, okay, and you came to work and and I needed to get you to do something, I would have to say, good morning, Niecy, how's your cat, how's your dog? I have to go down the line to make you feel good, to get you motivated. But if you was a personality like me, and many of the general officers in the military, and probably some of your leaders in the corporation that you work with, are ISTJs. And if you was an ISTJ, you wouldn't have to even think about, you don't even have to say good morning to me. You can say, hey, Alice, I need this done at such and such a time, get it done. Guess what? Alice gonna go over there and she's gonna get it done, basically. But that don't mean that I'm a bad person or they're a bad person because they didn't speak to me. It's an understanding where some people.
Wait. So the EN, what'd you say Niecy was? EN what?
I think she's an ENTJ. And
okay.
I'm confused.
You think we both are ENTJ?
She might be an F. Niecy.
Okay. So I don't know. I really don't know if she touched you or not. That's just my thought. I think that she probably, but
she say no, I believe her. She say no, I believe her. But most people that are Fs are in denial because people don't want to feel like, oh, I'm so touchy feeling, I got to speak. People don't want to feel that way.
I'm not really an extrovert either.
Like, I was gonna say, I thought she was an introvert. I don't think she's an extrovert at all.
I'm not really an extrovert. I
think
you could be extroverted. You're more of an ambivert.
In between, you could be in between.
Yeah, you're ambivert.
I'm in between because
I think you're more in between.
Because
so in between an introvert and an extrovert is an ambivert. That's what that is.
That is. Okay. That is.
However, correct. For Myers-Briggs, I do think that you're more of an I. That's my personal opinion. I've always scored as ENTJ. So I think ENTJ, I believe. So
that's what I said you were an ENTJ.
Right, but me and her are not the same.
Right. But I said, I think she's an E. Well, did I say S? No, I said you were S. Or maybe she's an S. I don't know. But no, you're definitely not the same. I totally agree. I was close though. I was close. If y'all would have gave me maybe 30 more seconds in your presence in the beginning, I would have had it on point. Trust me.
We should have waited until the end. We should have did it at the end. But so now I know there's other tests that people do. Like I had a friend who was in acquisitions, and there was some sort of like green, blue, orange test or something
out there. I just prefer. For me, the preference is Myers-Briggs.
Sorry. So with the ENTJ, you're saying those type of people, you have to be like, how's your cat? Blah, blah, blah.
No, that's the F.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, child, no, I don't want to know about nobody's cat.
The ENTJs are one of the most smartest personality types to work with. My deputy at the time, the ENTJ, the one of
you see how this is why I was telling. Look at BC face.
I'm telling you. My deputy, when I was on the inside, I love her so much. We're like best friends now, but she was an ENTJ. I was an ISTJ. And so sometimes we think alike, but she just want to just get things done. And sometimes, they groom you to what to say at the table, when to say, and sometimes it's just not the time. And sometimes you have to be the bad person. And then sometimes, the timing is off. And I used to have to pinch her underneath the table. It was like, look, it's not time yet. You can't do that.
You're her personality type, and I'm the boss she's talking about. And Nisi's pinching me all the time. Nisi is very good, and I listen. And Nisi is very good at letting me know how to react or not react. That's gonna sound bad if I say it like that, but
y'all want to get it out, and y'all want to be right all the time. You just
that's incorrect, though.
You want to say just what you want to say.
I think I do like to say I want to say. I don't think I want to be correct because I don't have a problem if somebody else is right. You're teaching me something. Right. But everybody likes to feel like what they're saying is correct. However, you have to be willing to accept that you're not always right. That to me is a sign of good leadership. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, she was a great leader. I love her. My ex-deputy, like she was one of the smartest people I knew. And she the one that taught me a lot about entrepreneurship. I got into real estate investment because of her. She taught me a lot of stuff. I taught her a lot of stuff. And that was her personality type. I mean, I look up to her today. She looks up to me for certain things, and we just best friends now.
Oh, see that works.
I think
I need to be like this.
My personality, it was like from an early age, I had a job where I had to tell people much older than me what to do. So it's like I tried my best to learn how people think. And like I was telling on one of Marcella's lives the other day, like even if people are talking to me and they're not making much sense, I still try to get in there and get any little piece out of it that could be a gem. You know what I'm saying? I guess I work with mentally ill people. So, I had to sit there and listen to a lot of different nonsense and get information enough for an assessment. So that's why it's like I'm, very open to listen to somebody, even if their opinions are different from mine.
Sure. I can see that. I did similar to what you just said. As a leader, I got my first director's job when I was like 20 years old, and the people that worked with me were like 50 and 40 and 50. And it was devastating. It was hard trying to manage those people and have them believe in a 20-year-old could lead them into something. It was very challenging. So I can relate to that.
Very much so. And whew, them were the days, honey. And my husband was one of them that I couldn't stand. He was one of them. He's the same, I think, as me. Oh, I think that's why we met well.
However, I think I'm a different type, I guess, because I go to work. If I go to work from 9 to 5, I go to work from 9 to 5, and I don't care.
Oh, wow.
I don't care. So I'm gonna get my work done or whatever, and you have fun or whatever doing what you're doing. Like you leave me alone, and I'm gonna leave you alone because I'm here to collect my check. And at 5:01, if we hadn't talked during the day, then we aren't friends after either.
So that's why you need to be more of an entrepreneur.
I am. Did you see?
I know more of it, like full-time.
Huh?
Full-time entrepreneur.
Oh, well, my father been telling me that since I was little. Yeah. But no, I am. That is, that's always the goal or whatever. Hey, and now I'm meeting you today, so contracts might be on the list, right? Because I've been trying to do that since I was younger. My problem with being an entrepreneur always is that. So when I very first registered my first business at 23, I asked my husband at the time, I was like, hey, I'm a software developer. You're a sysadmin. We should have our own business. And he was like, yeah, but then it was me just doing a ton of the work. And then I also had to take care of home and the kids. And it was just a lot. And I didn't have anybody that I felt like was supportive and helping me with the business. So I just kind of gave that up. Then I would say probably like a couple of years later, I found somebody that I knew that was very business minded that worked with me. And we tried to start a business. But then that didn't work out because there was a third party. If it would have just been the two of us, I think it would have been fine. But the third party, I think there was like competing interests, not just in business, but this guy was his best friend. I was like a female best friend. It was like the
Mm-hmm.
clash. He wanted to give me what I wanted for the business. He wanted to give him what he wanted for the business. And, it just wasn't going to work out. And so I gave up. When I started this business, it was just because I said, all these times I was trying to start a business and I was waiting to see if somebody else would do it with me. But at the end of the day, everybody doesn't want to do what you want when you want it.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody is not willing to help. Everybody doesn't have the same business mind. So why not just go ahead and do it, just start the business or whatever. And it's so crazy because everyone I know, similar to you, I think maybe on the different sides of the DoD, because I'm in IT and you're in acquisitions, but I'm very well known for what I do in the community, and everybody was like, why didn't you start an IT business? Why did you start a hair business?
You should start an IT business.
Well,
So
and my son is actually a software developer too now. So
yeah, if I can give you some pointers on that, what I find is that when people with your skill set go out and they start the business, they feel like they have to work in the business. One of the challenges with starting a business is that you're a CEO, so you want to think of do all the things a CEO have to do. It's a lot of things that you have to do to manage the business. You cannot work in your business or work inside your business and be a CEO of your business. So when you bring in your skill set as a software developer, you do have the knowledge and the skill sets, but you're not going to be the one that's doing the work. So what you quickly want to do is identify resources, people reach back, like friends that work with you in the company who also share they really don't want to be the CEO for a business, but they want to be kind of independent. You just go out and start 1099 in people. So
that's why I'm like, I think I need to do the 1099 thing, and I think I might get on that. So I had a lady who, when I decided that second time to do a business that I worked for, and she started her business by getting awarded her first prime contract of 4 people. It was four people on there.
FTEs,
yeah. So it was her and her husband, a friend, and I think her babysitter or something like that, and cleared everybody. And then went ahead and, they started their business or whatever. And then she kind of grew. Now, to me, her personality, it's like she probably was built for it because she was super cutthroat. Like literally when she hired me, she went down my resume, because my resume, have a lot of top companies, and called every single one of them and said, I know her. And then she got on every single one of their, like at least one of their contracts. She put people on. And I was like, this lady's crazy. Like she really went down my resume, because people, again, I guess she didn't know people really knew me like that. And so they were like, do you really know her? Because she called me and said she knew you. And I'm like, she hired me. That's all I know. I don't know her.
Yeah, I mean, it's different. It's a cutthroat world for sure. Especially when you talk about competition, you'd be surprised at how competitive the world is in terms of in your field, IT alone. Now, I'll be honest with you. I just started I'm in partnership with 2 people, a company called ARM. And we're 3 retired government senior officials started a business. This is fresh. We only been in business, I guess, maybe 2 months, be honest with you. But, the goal is to go out after professional service contracts for the government. We were fortunate enough that we were sought after by an 8A company that is Alaska Native. And so.
Shagash?
No. But anyway,
what Shagash?
They took us under their wing and kind of we're using their backdoor system. So even though we're the face to the company, they're the backbone and the resources to help us get.
So she's not talking about it or whatever, because I guess she can't talk about it. But I have to tell Chugash's story, because Chugash's story is amazing. Okay. Chugash had no people. They bid on Northrop Grumman's. Because my brother was on the contract at the time on the Northrop. I had got him the job on one of their contracts. So they were like a well-oiled machine, and they had Northrop Grumman had this contract, this humongous contract forever. I want to say at least 10 years, like forever, right? Chugash came in, underbid them, had no people, right? But because the contract like had to be given to them because they wanted or whatever. They
Yeah.
literally got all those Northrop Grumman people.
Yeah,
So they went from
first
0
right of
people to
refusal.
like thousands of
Yeah,
people.
by law, they have to take them. It's just called
It was
first right of
crazy.
refusal.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I thought
Yeah.
that was the craziest thing to me because everybody's like, "Who's you guys? Like, where do they come from?"
Mhm.
Because you know, if you work in the Fed government for a while, you know who most of the companies are.
Yeah,
And I
sure.
was like, "Look at them! They did their
Mhm.
thing though, because they had 0 people and came and got like thousands."
And you could do the same thing.
Mhm.
Oh, I ain't gonna.
Now,
That
right
was
out the gate,
that
they
was the
gave us
craziest thing
20
I ever saw. It was
FTEs.
amazing though.
Yeah, they gave us 20 FTEs right out the gate. Right out the gate. All
Look,
we had to do was
but
LLC ourselves.
the thousands though, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like now it wasn't even a couple thousand. Like this contract was a major contract, like not just in one state, like several states, several agencies. It was major. I
Mhm.
mean, they grew from a nothing contract. So winning the one contract, they got that money, but in turn, they also got all those other people,
Oh, absolutely.
and they got an option to cut some of their salaries.
Yeah. You could do the same thing. I mean, see
I
the
don't
way
know
you're
that's not your gosh move. That's the cutthroats that I'm talking about. That was cutthroat. If look, there's only at this point on a
What are
cutthroat
you
note, there's
talking
only
about?
one
You're talking
contract
about
that I know for
Northrop
sure I
Grumman.
want.
Northrop Grumman is not losing anything. You're not
No,
big.
they're not. They didn't care.
They didn't lose anything.
They got
Mhm.
another couple contracts they called it a day.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So I
But
don't see
no,
that as cutthroat. I see that helping a small business fairly because the
they
work
didn't give it to
obviously
them.
had
They
to go to that
won.
small business.
No, they won it from Northrop Grumman, so they didn't give it to them.
Right.
Yeah, they won that. But it was like it just to me it was a little crazy. No, the cutthroat to me is more of like when people do things like I've known people who have been on people's contracts and like befriend them or whatever, which that's why in the Fed government, I'm like, we can't really be friends.
Oh no,
I'm
you
friends with
can't do
this
that.
people. I'm
No.
friends with this person.
Gotta keep your
But
integrity.
Mhm.
yeah, but they will befriend you or whatever, and then like, cause I don't know, they don't play, but they will befriend you, and then they'll go ahead and steal your contract because, like, in certain branches, you know, and I don't know if it's with like this for everybody, but you can see, or at least you know when the contract date is coming up,
Well, you
right?
do. So, and if you look in the SAM system, the SAM is used for several things, and that is the award system that is used to manage all the government contracts.
Yeah.
So, if you log into SAM right now and you want to look at Northrop Grumman, it'll show you all their contracts. It'll show you what their contracts were awarded for, how much, when it expired. All that is public information, so you can find that information out easily.
Just like all government salaries.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
You go look them all up.
I don't know. So I mean, I know there's people like that contracts that I know for a fact that I've worked with people to try to get contracts from other people. I'm just not really a cutthroat type of person. Unless you do something to me, then I'm like, eh.
But it's enough work. You know, I try to tell if I can leave anything tonight, the government awards hundreds of billions of dollars of contracts. It's enough work out there for everybody. You don't have to take any contracts from anybody. You just got to
Agreed.
focus, have a strategic plan, and then start going after the work. It's not as hard as people believe it is. It's just it takes long. You know, it's not going to happen overnight. It takes some time to really build your infrastructure in the way that you be comfortable. Sometimes you start business. I got a couple of businesses now, and I can't even pay myself. And that's because the businesses are still growing. At some point, I will be able to, but right now, I can't pay myself.
Right.
It
No,
was
I mean
like my daughter. She moved to California and she had a job with DOD. She didn't like the job at all, so she just quit. And you try to I try not to be like, girl, the connections you can make and stuff in the DOD, but she left. But I would love for you to talk to her on the telephone.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'll send you my information.
And let her
But as a mom, let me just leave this with you. It's not like when I went in when I was 16 years old, did 38 years, retired at 55. These young people come in with college degrees. They want to get paid. They want to get paid
See,
fast.
that's her.
They don't believe in the 9 to 5. They want to telework. And I'll be honest with you, that's why they have companies like Google and those places that are built for these young kids who, think like they think, mindsets like they are. We were taught you go to work 9 to 5. If you have to work overtime, you work
Good
overtime.
job,
You
girl.
stay in your job until you find another one. That's how we
Mhm,
were taught. These young kids are not afraid to take risks, and they're more marketable outside of DOD
mhm.
or federal government, period. I mean,
He got
the
like a
salaries are going to be better.
$12,000 raise,
Yeah,
but me thinking from, okay, girl, stay in there and get that, stay in that good government job,
right. Yeah, what they call it, your good
but
government job.
but she is
Right.
more like, Mom, there's no room for me to grow in this
That's
job.
true.
Like I won't,
Sometimes you
you
got to
know,
be patient.
yeah, and she has her master's. She's in
That's
school
it.
to get her doctorate.
What took me
So,
38 years to it took me 38 years to become who I am. It's taking
mhm,
them 5 and 6 years. They're
mhm,
getting promoted quick. They're very smart these days. And you're finding a lot of young folks are starting their own businesses.
mhm,
They are becoming entrepreneurs at 30. They multi-millionaires at 30, 40,
she,
I told my
she's
son I'm trying to see
23.
him on Forbes 30 and 30, 30 under 30.
Exactly. There you go.
My daughter is 23 years old. She's the most business minded
God,
person
I
I've
didn't
ever
know
been
your daughter
around.
was 23.
Mhm.
No,
What was the
And
sorry.
question? I'm sorry.
go ahead, what you say?
No. I said I didn't know your daughter was
Oh,
23. I didn't know her age.
yeah.
Yeah, she's
Anyway,
23 and she
Mhm.
has her master's. She finished
that's
high school and
amazing.
college early.
Good for her.
She's already in her doctorate courses,
Oh, good
and
for her. Wow. She's gonna
she
make
got
it.
another job where they
Mhm,
gave her a big raise. But
mhm.
I'm like Miss Alice. Back in the day, we were like, "Girl, you get you that good government job, that
Exactly.
good state job, and you stay there and
It's
retire."
not the same.
My
I
daughter
retired
said,
under,
"No, mom,
yeah, I
I
retired
don't
under
have any room to
CSRS.
grow." You know.
Yeah. So
You
they
know,
have they had two different retirement programs now. I retired under
Mhm.
CSRS, meaning when I retired, I was guaranteed a set salary no matter
Right,
what.
right.
On the FERS, you actually have to put in. So you retire based on the amount of money that you put into the
Mhm.
retirement plan.
Right.
So
It's
it doesn't make it worth it
free.
anymore. Like
Yeah.
unless become SCS and, you know, get up
Mhm.
there at a high level. And then even that, it comes with so much, y'all don't know how much stress I had.
Yeah,
I
it's
feel like I
I
might be
deal
the
with a lot of stress.
I feel like I
I
might be that middle generation then or something because like Missy knows. So the jobs that the job that I work or whatever, is remote currently. And
Mhm.
I love that it's remote and people will contact me, like I don't know, was it you, Nisi, who was like somebody the other day was like, people contact you all day about a job. Oh no, it was somebody else. People contact you all day about a job. And I'm like, yeah, because I've been doing this for a long time. Like
and my
Right.
people
daughter,
got
she's like that. Like almost every job she's went for, she's gotten. And I'm just so super proud of my baby. That's why I
Good
brag
for
on her
you.
all
You
the time.
should. You should brag about her.
And I think her ultimate goal is she wants to be a CEO in the healthcare field,
Mhm.
you know, dealing with things like this, acquisitions and things. So, hopefully y'all, you could give her a little
I
guide.
would love to talk to her. I'll send you my information, my personal information.
she could
And
work at NIH.
yeah, yes, she
Mhm.
could. A
She
bunch
could-
of places.
They always hiring.
Yeah,
I feel like.
yeah.
Yeah,
There are
because
But
a lot
no,
of places she could work.
she
I
was
think that
working on Balboa, but now this job she has is with a home health care agency. So
Hmm.
I think this has been incredibly informational today. And I think we should always where can people contact you if a
Hmm.
small business like myself wanted
Yep.
to go ahead and start their way into doing 1099s or being a sub or something of that
Mhm.
nature?
Absolutely. So you can reach me at AMW, Alice.Williams at AMWACG.com. That is my email. I check my email every day between my daughter and myself. Or you can go to my website. My website is amwacg.com. So I'm out there. You can always reach me. I'm very responsive to my email.
Down below for YouTube people.
Awesome.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was saying your information is down below for
Oh,
people
very good.
watching
Yes,
on YouTube.
yes, yeah. And you can reach out to me anytime. And so what I typically do, there are a lot of resources out there for startup businesses that I don't spend a lot of time on. So say, I want to LLC my business. I want to learn how to understand government federal acquisition regulation. I use a lot of resources and they are all free. They have the Procurement Technical Assistance Center. It's worldwide. You can find one in every state. Here in Maryland, there's one in Baltimore. In Virginia, there's George Mason University. And what they do is they offer minority businesses free classes. If you want to understand how to do business with the government, you want to know how to fill out your SAMS applications, you want to know how to fill out all the applications for your preference groups. If anything, you want to know how to write a proposal. All those classes are free, and all you have to do is sign up as a minority business. So there are a lot of programs. The SBA have what they call a J5 program, does the same thing. They have people actually come out to your businesses that will help you train and understand how to market yourself to the departments, how to develop briefings, how to create presentations in terms of, your elevation speech, what you want to leave with the, what is the end result of what you want to leave with the organization. They teach you all that, and it's all free. And a lot of people don't take enough time to utilize the resources. So I don't teach it. I can talk about it. I can tell you, I could teach it as well. And some people I do take the time out, but for the most part, I send them to those resources. And then after they take those resources and take those classes, then they come back to me. So I'm looking for businesses who, have started, who understand government procurement, may even try to bid on proposals and have failed, or, may need to get in front of a key leader and been having some challenges. Those are the type of businesses that I deal with. But I'm very open. I help
the fight.
Yeah, I don't
The
tell
fight is knowledge.
Right.
A lot of us don't know the ins and outs, and it's good, when, like I said, whenever me and Tink started this, we wanted a networking type thing where we could like say, hey, this is a person that you could go to and get this, and this is the person you go to and get
Just
that.
keep me on that list. Yeah, please do.
And you definitely gonna be on mine.
Thank you.
You're definitely on her list.
Thank you.
I was reading when I was reading on y'all, like, ooh.
Yeah. She done told me whenever y'all booked, I guess she told me about it right away. That's who's gonna be on the show. I was like, who? Like, we are such different people. She'd be like excited, and I'd be like, okay.
It's like, okay, whatever. It's a pleasure to meet you anyway.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it like that. No, it's just she sometimes, just like you had to nudge the lady at the table, she sometimes has to like put it in my mind why this is important, why this is good. Because everything to me is kind of like, girl, I gotta make these products. Like, it's fine. You know what I mean? I'll be like, what? I don't know. But she's nice enough to get it in my mind for me. So you are on my list as well.
Thank you.
Knowing the right person sometimes can put you an extra little foot in the door. You know what I'm saying? On the right person.
That is so true.
I get it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And I'm very much opposite. So I was pretty much like, I grew up in the Maryland area. And, if you grow up in that area, like there's lots of people that you meet all the time. So sometimes you get like numb to it.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And you're like, okay. But, so that's why she has to be like, this is why. You would think I was 5 years old, but it does work though. It only works with her though, because it really probably would make me mad with anybody else. Honestly, I don't know why I was able to work for her, but she, almost like I'm 5, she'd be like, "Now listen, this is what we're gonna do today. This is what's gonna happen." And I'd be like, at first for 2 seconds, I'd be like, "She's talking to me like I'm 5." Then I'd be listening. Like, wait a minute, she's right.
Right.
Well, if
But
there's
anyway,
anything I can do in the future, if you need me to come back and talk. I know we didn't get a lot into really the how to, especially
Mhm,
for, leaving some nuggets for people to be able to use as resources. If you need
mhm,
me to
mhm,
talk
that's
about
why they
something
gotta come to
specific,
you.
yeah, if they
mhm.
want something specific, you can send them to me, or you can have me come back and talk about some specific topic that you would be interested in me to talk about.
So you
Because I
got
can go on forever. When you start talking about government procurement and acquisition and being in business,
it's
I can
very
be all over the
fascinating.
place.
You know what? One of the things actually before we leave is that I don't know if you've explained this already, but you've mentioned several times 1099. Can you explain like the corp to corp and 1099 for people who are not familiar with like that terminology?
So yeah, so 1099 allow you to be a business owner, it's an independent business without going through what we call a W-2, which wage grade or wage, whatever it is. So when you hire someone or you go work for a company, they always put you on a W-2 for tax purposes. So they have a responsibility taking out taxes on your behalf. They also have the responsibility for ensure that you have insurance. And so as a employee, you have a option. And so a lot of companies give you the option to either work W-2, where they're responsible for doing that for you, or 1099, where you become an independent contractor. And what that means is that you can use your social security number. You don't always have to LLC yourself. You can actually use your social security number to 1099 because it's all for tax purposes. Uncle
Mhm,
Sam have to know the way to get their money from you. Whatever money you make, they're going to tax you on it. So it's
mhm.
all for tax purposes. So
I
if
feel like
we,
you get the best write off though when you get the LLC though.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Right.
And
So
then you
we
get
could
to
talk about
establish the
that too.
business credit.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely. So some people are kind of afraid to take that leap, and
Mhm,
they for sure, they're not ready to be a business owner. They don't know what it means, what it takes. So
mhm.
sometimes the social security number is the best way for them. So you got to know that you can start off with that and switch over to LLC when you're ready.
Until you're ready.
Right.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. The benefits, even before I knew I was, knew what my business was going to be, I was already LLC in myself just
mhm,
for tax purposes. I know right away I was going to get all those tax write-offs, and whether I made a penny or not for 5 years, I can claim I ain't make nothing, I can get a write-off.
mhm.
And so what people don't know, the advantage of you could take of being LLC. I LLC'd all my children for that reason. And when they were
Yeah. Okay.
young, when they were young and they were, before they became old enough to work for themselves, they worked for me. And
Mhm.
so, you could pay your kids $12,000, up to $12,000 a year and get a write-off.
You know what I
Mhm.
just thought of? Look, we're gonna talk about that later though, but I definitely pay my youngest every week.
You can write that off. That's a
I'm
tax
going to
write-off.
now.
Yeah, that's a tax write-off. Right. So we don't,
I
as
was trying to figure out how I was
entrepreneurs,
gonna
as
write that off.
business people, as minorities, we don't know sometimes the benefits of becoming a business owner. And there are some advantages, there are some disadvantages.
Mhm.
The worst disadvantage is Uncle Sam gonna get his. So,
Right, right.
you got to be able to know you pay yourself, you pay Uncle Sam, and you set these accounts up already. So when you get paid, if you get a $10,000 check, part of it is going to be pay. If you choose to get paid, part of it is going to be your taxes. Part of it is going to be a savings. And then part of it is going to be, I want to just play. Okay. But
Mhm.
you got to know that and keep that in order. So when that tax time come along, you already know, you know what, let me just go on and write this $30,000 check and just get
Yeah, that's where a lot of people get into trouble with
right.
businesses. People don't,
Mhm.
don't want to pay that
Right.
money.
Or you can just file every 6 months. I mean, what's every quarter they call it. You can file
Mhm.
every quarter. I find that's the best way to do it when it's hard to manage a lot of money, because you got
As
a
you're
business
talking, I'm just sitting here like I gotta give me a CPA because this is a lot.
and it's not that expensive. You can be honest with you, as a small business, especially very, very small business, you don't have to get a CPA. You
I'm
just
gonna
get
get me one.
you
I
just
got a
get
lot.
QuickBooks.
I feel like the way this business and this, it, when we get off, we gonna talk for a second, and I'm gonna tell you the way this Nisi know the way this thing is set up, and like a little juggling situation happening. I'm
Right.
gonna definitely
Getting
need
a
me a
payroll.
CPA.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
Marcella said she had a question. What's your question, doll?
Hey, Marcella. I can't see the question, but
I can't either.
I don't see a question.
But yeah, it's like a juggling situation just
Mhm.
because I have multiple businesses and,
Right.
you know, have a few that are coming up too. And then I also do the, you know, working for somebody else. And
Mhm.
then my, you know, son is in college. All of
Right.
this need to go to a CPA at this point
Right.
because there's just too
Okay.
many things going on.
A lot of
I
people are
understand.
saying that they love your information and what you are giving, and people be paying $5,000-6,000
Yeah.
for this
Yeah,
type of
they
information.
sure do. They absolutely do.
And
And they don't have to. They don't
right.
have to. I only
But
make people
this is amazing that
thankful.
you sharing this for free, because I know that a lot of people, I hang out on Clubhouse a lot, and people will
Mhm.
actually be paying people to do rooms and groups over there, you know, and this is amazing you were willing to come on and,
Well,
and,
thank
and talk
you.
to us
I don't
about it.
mind at all. Yeah, somebody taught me. So,
Right.
things that I know I could do for free, and it's
Mm-hmm.
free information. I'm not telling you nothing you can't Google. So,
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm gonna hit you up and you just point me in the direction. You don't gotta do nothing for me. Just point me to where I need to go. Cause you know I'm a ENTJ. You just point me where I need to go, and
That's
I'm
what
gonna go ahead and make it happen.
I used to tell my deputy, you the boss of me. She used to boss me around.
Mm,
She used to
I
boss
don't
me
want.
all the time.
I don't know. Look, I enjoy whatever it is. I think it's but whatever DC personality is, like I had a lady who she used to work with me on another business that I was doing or whatever. And I told her to this day, I said, I can't wait to this thing, no matter what I do, if there is an opportunity where I end up having somebody who's like a COO or whatever the
Mhm.
next level is or whatever, it's gonna be her. Cause I'm
Oh,
trying to tell you, she could sell anything.
right.
Like you could put her in the middle of the desert and she'd come back with a
Oh
G.
my.
Like I don't
That's
know what her deal is, but and so like I told Niecy the other day, I said some people were like, "Oh, you have such a nice personality," and I'm like, "What? No," but I was like, "Okay." But this girl, her personality, like she's the type of person I look at and be like, your personality is so not like she's not fake at all, and she knows
Mhm,
exactly kind of like me like, how to say it to me, like
mhm,
blunt. But you know,
mhm,
I don't know why I don't get it. I don't know. But anyway, she knows how to say it, you know, and I appreciate that. And I'm like, girl, I need this because literally, I feel like when I had this type of person, I could be like blah 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 blah, and she'd be like, hold on. And she'll say it and she'll get it across without all the
mhm,
like blah blah. Because
mhm,
I'll be like, fire him, let
mhm.
him go.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, you're making a very valid point because, especially when you start your business, you do have to have key personnel in the business, and
Mhm.
they have to be people that you trust, that you can work with, who understand your
Mhm.
personality. That's
Mhm.
always a challenge. When I was on the inside, we had a program called a mentor protege program. Are you familiar with that?
The mentor protege. Oh
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
just for
I ran the
government.
mentor, yeah, I ran the mentor protege program. I wrote the legislation for the mentor
Did
protege
you?
program.
Oh,
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm. And
I
so
couldn't participate. You should have included contractors.
you know what? At the time when Congress was beating us up, so we didn't have enough measures in place to monitor it. We couldn't identify our return on investment. So when Congress was beating us up, at the time, somebody else was running the program, and they came in and said, "Hey, Alice, we got an issue. We need you to take it
Oh,
over."
they had an issue there.
Right. Yeah, a big issue. So I took
Mm.
it over. I had to put a pause on it for 6 months. I just stopped everything and went back to Congress to find out what they wanted, and then came back and I put the team together, and the team was made up of government personnel, and it had to be that way because it was congressional driven.
Well, those larger companies, though, that we're speaking about, like when I worked for Booz Allen, they had adopted that program, the mentor protege
Mhm,
program, and they made it a part of our culture because you know how Booz Allen is very much
mhm,
like about
mhm.
almost, they're not government, but
Right.
they have the
Sure.
same style,
Mhm.
personality. They're so close.
Yep.
In the way they think, because you know they kind of teach you and train you to be of the same mindset so that you can work closely with government people, you know.
Mhm.
And that
But
was
yeah,
Mhm.
they had that.
Marcella's question. Marcella was wanting to know, can your formula be used for non-government businesses?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yes. So what I've been talking about with this business, AMW Acquisition Consulting Group, specialized in government procurement. But I am knowledgeable enough. So I have enough skill sets because I've taught businesses how to start up. So, startup businesses, and I have other businesses. I have several businesses that I own today. And so I know how to work with different agencies to get resources. I know how to start the business, what you need, some of the requirements. So yes, the same platform as this. It just depends. I have a home and healthcare business. I'm going to be talking to Marcella about that later.
And
So
that was my dream at one point,
right,
having a
But,
home healthcare business because I'm a RN.
right.
My husband is RN.
Right.
And
Well, I started this business. One of my family members have a very successful home and healthcare business. And we found in working with her is that minorities don't know what their rights are in terms of home and healthcare. We have a lot of elderly people. We have a lot of family members with disability that's just not taking advantage of the programs that's out there. So I do private care and then also do Medicaid care. So, if you have family members that's on Medicaid, and most of my clients that come in are right now family members because it's just so many that were out there being, mistreated or, being used by somebody else through the system, taking advantage of them. And I wanted to make sure that my family personally was being taken care of. So it's called Williams Home and Healthcare System with specialized services all across Virginia. And I want to talk to Marcella. We're actually looking at launching a location in Portsmouth, Virginia.
Okay.
So yeah,
She
but
needs to meet Erica from I Told Inc. Remember I Told Inc? You should meet Erica. Yeah.
Erica.
do the introduction.
She's trying to start her foundation for child rape survivors.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
She's
I
very
love
passionate about
Let's
it.
do the introduction. But that was the reason and the other reason of opening up the home health care system is because my family legacy. My sister, it's three of us. My sister and I are the last two Williams in the family, the Williams family. And, after my dad and my sister and I are gone, that's it. So we wanted to have a foundation, a legacy.
Don't you have kids? Didn't you say you had kids?
I do, but their last name's not Williams.
Right.
Oh, got you. I didn't.
My kids.
Well, I didn't know.
That's okay. That's all right. That's okay. That's okay. But there is part of their legacy as well. So
I get you though, but the Williams name is
right.
gone.
So it gave my sister, who was also she works for the government, been in government 30-something years and ready to get out. She worked for a patent and trademark office. She's ready to get out. When she get out, she's transitioned right into the Williams.
Right, the patent and trademark office.
Yeah, she works for patent trademark.
I just got my trademark.
Oh, did you? Congratulations. Yeah. Yeah. So when she gets out, we have a position for her. She's already ready. She's part of the business. My daughter.
Yeah, you have a whole business in place. Because I mean, beyond building helping people procure, contracts and stuff like that, that trademark and patent piece is crazy. I have people that will contact me, even though my stuff's already registered, and be like, just for $1,900, we can go ahead and register you for this. I'm like, it is free, it's to free. Search, and it costs.
The search is free. You have to pay
$200 or $300 or whatever.
Yeah, $200.
Yeah, but it ain't no thousands.
No.
I'm like, these people are crazy
for the services that I do. I have people call me and say, I just paid $10,000 for somebody to fill out my 8A application. I'm like, what?
I just need to know where these people are.
Right. And they get paid. They really getting paid off of that stuff.
Oh gosh. It's about that marketing now.
15 minutes from Portsmouth. So
okay. All right.
What happened?
Reach out to her. I will.
Okay.
I missed that. Okay. But anyways, we are over our time or whatever. But it has been amazing to talk to you today.
We got to have you back. Because it's like I'm just soaking up all this information. I'm gonna tell my daughter that.
Right.
I'm just so grateful that you're over here doing this for free. Thank you so much.
You gonna stop saying that. She gonna charge us next time. You better cut it out.
No, I'm not. I would never charge.
I'm just playing.
Never ever. Never will I. Yeah.
But no,
I
definitely appreciate you being on. Like it's been a great experience and very knowledgeable. And I know a lot of people are gonna come out of this with some big gems. And if nothing else, you're definitely gonna hear from me and Niecy and her daughter.
That's right. Thank
You're
you.
gonna hear from us. But
Absolutely.
so we're gonna do, huh?
Can I answer this one last thing?
Go for it.
If it's the one nugget that you can drop for
Oh
anybody
yeah.
that's interested in getting into our business, what would be the first thing you tell them to do?
Don't be scared to take the risk. I'm a risk taker, but don't be scared to take a risk. I've had multiple businesses fail, but it didn't stop me from starting another business. I've never gotten too comfortable going to a 9 to 5. I was just successful at it. Everything I've done, I've just been successful at it. So once you are determined that you want to do something, speak it into existence. You want to start a business, once you LLC, you ain't made a penny, guess what? You're still a business owner. You still get all the rights. You still get all the tax write-off. It takes time. So put the time in, take the time, utilize the resources, network, ask all the right questions, connect with the right
Network.
people.
I knew you were gonna repeat that.
You got a network, absolutely. So that is the jewel that I would want to just
I have a
leave.
question.
Yes, ma'am.
So I don't like, okay, as a business, maybe do you have to network if you have other people who work with you and they network? You know what I'm saying? Like, why do you got
But you know what? Where you're not comfortable at, you bring in people that's comfortable doing it.
Agreed. I think that's the right
Right.
move.
Like, so I don't like the network, but I'm great at it. If I have to do it, because I can work a room. I know how to work a room. You put me in a room, I'm gonna work the whole room. Okay.
If I have to, yay.
If I
I'm
have
good
to.
at it.
But
Right.
you hire people who, like, some people just hire to be networking marketing people. You hire them people and you put them out there and let them do their thing. It don't have to be you. You're the face of the business. So when it comes
Say
to
what?
right, you're the face
Need
of
to come back and
you're the face
frame.
of the business. Right.
Come back and frame, Niecy. You say I'm the face of the
you're the
business.
face to the
The
business.
face of the business.
Right. So you're busy running the business. You can't do it all.
Can't
But
do it
just,
all.
but
Say it
just
again.
remember, though, it's your business. So the more you put in it, the quality that
We
you put
were
in it.
going down such a good road. Now
But
we're
you know
going
what I'm
we're
saying?
going west.
Well, I'm just telling you, go find those people that's connected to you, your daughter, whoever. My daughter does it all. My daughter can run this business without me being here. I get on a plane anytime I want. You know why? Because I know she's checking my calendar. She's telling me, Mom, you got to be at this meeting. You got to do this. I take her to my meetings with me. She sit down and listen to everything that I say. When people look at her, they say, that's many, many hours. And so they know she's smart, way smarter than me. She way smarter than me. Way. She is way, I'm telling you, she's very sharp. And I couldn't do it without her. So you got to get that person who care enough about you, who want that interest like you, and get them under your wing. And the things that you don't like to do, let them do it for you.
I'm gonna hire somebody.
I'm
I'm just tired.
I'm glad somebody else said it. I'm glad somebody else said it.
She did not say what you wanted her to say. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I believe she was agreeing with me. She said I can't do it all. That's what I heard, right?
No, you can't do it all.
I ain't never
You
said
don't want to do it all.
I don't want to.
You don't want to do it all.
I can't do it all. I'm tired.
Right. I hate walking around a room shaking everybody's hand, making up conversation. That's not me, but I will do it.
The thing is, because I am an extrovert, and I think this is where she's going. I am an extrovert. I'll shake everybody's hand. I'll talk to everybody. I don't care.
Right.
She just feel like I'm very
you introverted about your business. That's the problem.
Yeah, I'm introverted about my business. Like, I don't, if it's a stranger and you ask me a question, or when I'm at my markets, like, I'm like, blah, 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 all the different stuff. I'm like, you want to pull up a chair, sit with me for an hour? I don't care. You know what I'm saying? But when it's time to go, I'm out.
They approach you because you had a big sign up that says natural hair care products. So they approach you. Sometimes you're going to have to approach
So I asked them, what is her advice about that? Because she's not the first person that said it. It's been said several times about me, because I do have a strong personality. Like, I am very much an extrovert, but when it comes to my business, for some reason, I really am an introvert. Like, I will have
perspective of
Right.
it.
Because
I'm not
people
one
don't
to
like
be
to
like,
talk
let me go
about
to this
themselves.
party and promote my business and let you know. I mean, I'm just not that type of person.
People don't like to talk about themselves. I'm the same way.
Yeah.
But it doesn't stop me from doing what I know I have to do to make my business successful. Like
Mhm.
you give me 10 seconds, I'm gonna tell you all about my business. You know, if you give me longer than that, I'm gonna have a sale by now. Multiple
Mhm.
sales. Okay. You give me any
Different.
longer than that, right? My business already expanded to the next level. So it's at whatever it is that you want your business to go, how slow you want it to go, how fast you want it to go. It's your business. Nobody can talk about your business better than you.
Right.
Nobody.
Now I'm ready for it to go. I mean, it's doing its thing, and I'm ready for it to go, of course, as
Products
high as it can
are
possibly go. I
amazing.
just the introverted part. I'm just introverted as far as networking. She feels as far as networking, I'm
Mhm.
introverted because I'm
Mhm.
also used to like doing things on my own.
Right.
So
You
to
can't
me,
buy your
network.
own product. You can't buy your own product. You ain't gonna make no money. So let's talk later. We could talk about that. I can give you some
Mhm.
pointers
Oh
on
yeah, yeah.
what to do and how to do it, and some things that you may want to consider as it relates to that. Because you can market in many different ways. It don't
Mhm.
always have to be verbal.
Oh,
Mhm. And
yeah.
it'll be like I see somebody out, whenever I go out to the grocery store and I see they got some beautiful natural hair, I be like, "Look,
Get
go
Macy a
follow this
t-shirt.
person on Instagram. She has the best natural hair products."
Mhm.
Like, it's like doing
Yeah.
little things like that will
Oh yeah, people talking about your
And
business and
she
you know
told
what
me, she's like, you need to just just talk about it. Like, you just need to say something or whatever. And so I did decide, like, we worked on some things or whatever. And so, but anyway, yeah, that's for another time because that's not what this is about. But we
that's
talked
okay.
about it.
All right.
Anyways, I was just wondering what your recommendation was for somebody who would be more introverted in the business or who approached you and they were more of an introvert than an extrovert, but they wanted to do business. How do you usually handle that? That's what I
Mhm. I talk them through the process. I answer
Mhm.
the questions for them. When I see an introvert in my space, but I know they have something, the service or product they're trying to sell and they need my interest, I know that. And that's the whole purpose of when I said earlier today, understanding personality types. I
Mhm.
already know. Like I know what I'm dealing with when you walk in front of me in 30 seconds. I already know what I'm dealing with. So I help them through that process. I
Mhm.
personally do that.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Well,
So happy you came on, and Tink, you gonna get into what stocks you was into this week?
I'm gonna give a 30-second or a minute spiel, but yes, you already know. So for entertainment purposes, I would like to get into a little day trading,
It's all
and so
entertainment, y'all. Now,
yes, it's
claiming
entertainment.
money.
Mhm.
So the stocks that did well this week was again Dutch Bros, which I know we talked about, and you got into some Dutch Bros yourself, right?
Yes.
Um, so it did pretty good. I would say around Thursday it took a little bit of a dip, but for the most part, this was a pretty good week because we've been seeing a couple red weeks. We've been seeing a couple red weeks.
Yeah.
But hmm,
Yeah, we have.
however, there are a couple new players that have come aboard and that are doing good. So one of the ones that people probably already a little bit invested in, but had a major week was Tesla. Tesla.
Mhm.
Okay, Tesla did really good, and if you invested in Tesla this week, baby, you know you about to do some shopping because Tesla went off. Okay, another
Mm,
one that is really good, and this is going to be the last one that I give or whatever. If you're not familiar with all the controversy that's going on with Facebook going to court and everything, and now they're changing their name to Metaverse, if you heard that, pay attention to nuggets like that. When you hear a company say, you know what, we doing so bad, we're going to change our name. When you do rebranding, baby, it takes off. At least there's enough for you to get in for a day or two and get a little bit of money. So when I saw that Metaverse and that new little logo, I went on in because you know what? It's about to drop on down. That's what's going on. It's up today, dropping tomorrow. So that was my picks for last week. And moving forward this week, I'm sticking with Dutch Bros. But Moderna is not doing what it used to do. So I anticipate probably coming into the winter, it's definitely going to go back up. But right now, it is definitely not doing the big 10% jumps that it was doing before. So Facebook, Dutch Bros, those are my go-to. CIE is another one. What do you think, Nisi? Did you find any new stocks?
I got my Tesla, baby, because that's my
You
dream
got
car.
Tesla. Okay.
Yes, honey. I got my munchie this week.
Yes,
I
to be.
also invested in a company called Enphase Energy.
Mm-hmm.
That's been doing pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And a company called Definitive Healthcare. They went up like 10% over the last week,
Ooh.
and I got in with them. Those are the only new ones, y'all, that I got
I know
in.
you mentioned a firm last week, and so I ordered a couple weeks ago, and I went and got that, and then I went ahead and got out because I saw them taking a dive. Because
Mm.
another thing that we have said since the beginning, making sure to be aware and stay and look at your stocks. Now's the time to be looking, especially if you're trying to make the quick money like me. But if you're a long-term investment, some of those good ones you can leave them in. Like, of course, Tesla is another one that you could probably leave in. But I like the jumps, baby. I like the risk.
A firm, they had some spikes because they got American Airlines to start using their service where people can pay on their tickets like every 2 weeks,
Yeah.
use that commerce interface on American Airlines. So that's why they was having a bit of a jump.
Mhm.
Also, I think that's it, y'all.
That's it for me.
Um,
I'm Dutching it all this week. Dutch Brothers.
you
Because
know,
look, I can't get involved in all these new little stocks coming out, okay? Because everybody like to tempt me with a little bit, and I see a little spike, and I'm like, oh my goodness, is this going to be the one? But
that's
I
how
took a
I be
dive,
jumping around.
huh?
I be seeing those little spikes and if something on the news drop, I jump in there,
Jump in there,
jump
get
back
in
out,
there,
honey,
cash it
like
out.
some grease, okay?
Look, but choose wisely on those apps. You know what I'm saying? Because they only give you 4 for the day. So
I
choose.
right.
They
So
only give you 4 times to pull it out, or sometimes 3 or whatever. But then, unlike Robinhood, when you doing real good like me, you know how I do. Oh, got 200 for the day. I'd be like, take it out. And Robinhood be like, no.
honey, my gain was 19.33% last week.
Ooh,
Oh,
child, yes, on the 19. Yes, yes. You did the thing.
Miss Alice is in the stocks that you invest in that you would recommend?
I do. I have no recommendations at this time. I do
Okay.
play a little bit in the stock, thanks to my son who knows it very well. And so we use several platforms to jump in and out.
Mm.
I've done very well this year. I can say that.
Mhm.
So I have some.
Baby, if you had a lot of money on Moderna at one point this year,
Trying to
that
tell
would
you.
be
I
for the
didn't do
year.
Moderna. I just didn't. I did not do it.
Moderna.
Should've.
Moderna paid for my son's tuition this year.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay.
So the
Yeah.
whole tuition.
Yeah. I'm gonna stop.
Yeah, and I only started in January.
Oh
So,
wow.
but I had a plan, and
I
that's
would
why
go
why
ahead
we
and
started
pay
talking about
I
this.
for
can make a point, and when it start talking about leaving legacies and
Yeah,
building wealth, your portfolio should consist of some form of real estate, some
Mhm.
forms of stock, some forms of bonds,
Mhm.
and then your business. And so a
Yeah,
lot of people, these millionaires out here not just living off of being a CEO alone.
right.
They're reinvesting their money. So
Mhm.
I do play in the market. I do have an investment in real estate. I also have some investment also in stocks as well, and that's what I'm comfortable with. I live off it.
I was
Mhm.
just telling Tink that I'm doing a family trust, and in the real estate we
Oh, I
own.
have one. I have
Well, I want it to be a legacy. I don't want you to
one.
sell it whenever I die. Keep the property, use it
Mhm.
as an investment property if you don't want to live in the
Well,
city.
that's a good thing that you said. We're not talking about that, but you know what? Trust is good. Like what I did, a lot of people buy life insurance and they put it in their kids' names.
Mhm.
I put my life insurance in my trust.
Mhm.
So,
I'm
kids,
in the process of doing that.
if I leave today or tomorrow, I tell my kids all the time, I'm more valuable to you dead and alive, be honest with you. And so
Yeah,
they're well
too.
taken care of, they will taken care of. So I have my trust though set up to where I still control it, even in the grave.
Exactly.
So
Boom.
my son don't
Boom.
get my kids don't get their money right away. I say when that trust when they get their money.
Exactly.
such a different parent. I'm over here like, make it rain on them. Take all
It
the
just
money.
depends on where they at. I just think my younger kids, my boys, I have 3 kids. My daughter is very sharp. All my kids are. But I think my sons, they have a more tendency just, oh, I got all this money. Let me just go
And
buy a bunch of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-uh.
Like not
They so
thinking about the
look.
future.
You know what, my sons, it's so crazy because I'm the one at the store like, oh, I think I should get this. My youngest son be like, no, we're done. You're good. We don't
Mm,
need that. And I'm
yeah.
like, oh no, you're right.
How old are your
Oh, you're right.
kids? How old are your
I'm
kids?
18 and 23.
Okay. So mine 33, 29, and 24.
Mm.
And
But
they're very responsible. I
mm,
just think they would do better. I would hate something happen to me today or tomorrow, and 2, 3 weeks, a month, or a year from now, and they're broke because
I
they don't know how
agree.
to manage their money. And
Mhm.
and so that's why I spend a lot of time teaching them how to manage the money so they know I'm trying to still it in their brain. No
Mhm.
matter what, my mother told me I needed to do this. I
Yeah.
want them to
So
keep that in their brain. So even if I gave them $20,000 to play with the first year, they may not see all their money till they're 40. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
mhm.
Because I
Mhm.
think
Well,
they're
so
more responsible.
I'm such a different type of mom, only just because, like, and I understand how you're feeling because, my mother, she says the same thing. Me and Nisi actually had this conversation earlier today. So,
Mhm.
like, I hear what you're saying. For me, I just feel like I've always told my boys, um, you know, they're human beings, and you know what I mean. If I give you this opportunity and you blow it, then you blew it. That's on you. Like, but
Well,
I'm
we did
literally gonna say
that.
that to
We
them.
we did that as children. So with
Mhm.
the $12,000, that I was able to pay them, or any money that I gave them, they had the responsibility of manage their money as they were growing up and what they
Mhm.
didn't spend. So I tried to still, even in young. So I
Mhm.
know they're not gonna go out and blow it all. They know better, but I want them to be able, they young now. Some have me today, tomorrow. When they go 30, 40, 50 years old, I want them to still be able to have. I don't want
Mhm.
my children to have to work as hard as I did. And if they have it, I want them to turn that investment, whatever it is, into something else where they can live for the rest of their life. I
Mhm.
just don't
Yeah,
want them to just blow it
I
all.
agree.
I got one
See,
son like to turn up. He
I,
gonna blow
I hear
the
you.
bottle
Look,
too.
I think I'm the turner. But I think I'm that person but however, for me, because and so maybe it's just because of the personalities of my kids versus the personality of their me as their mom or whatever, and the fact that I am more so like, go ahead, take that money. Both of them are like, they are so good at saving money, it's
Yeah,
ridiculous. So
yeah.
both of them, the way that I kind of operated as a mom is to make things that we talk about everything, and so the things that I kind of am interested in, then it's usually an interest for all of us because we're very close. So like when I became interested in stocks, we all just kind of were like, hey,
Mhm.
let's get a stock.
Yeah,
And I asked
yeah.
my youngest, I was like, I know you're not old enough, when he was 17, but I said, do you want a stock? And he was like, yeah, I want a Disney stock. So I was like, okay.
Mhm. Good.
And then I
That's
said, I'll
good.
just give it to you when you're 18. So I
That's
just try to
good.
make it like,
Right.
be, my kids really value the fact that they're able to have choices, and they because they feel like a lot of people have always treat them like really like young children and
Mm-hmm.
don't really value their opinions. And
Mm-hmm.
so since I'm always like, hey, yeah, I'm going to do this stock thing, or oh, I'm going to start this business, or I'm going to do this. What do you think? And I don't
That's
know. They
good.
just seem to do
Yeah.
really well. It actually
Yeah.
quite shocked me. So my older son was able to buy a scat, and anybody can Google and figure out how much it is, but I'm gonna stay on here. But he actually went ahead and bought a scat, and he's 23. Which I was like, how?
Wow.
How?
Yeah.
He has a very excellent credit score. And again, I was like, how?
Yeah. Yeah. Very, which
Like,
is all very important. So you
right.
do
So
something right. So you
That's
do
one
have to
thing
do
we
what
need
works
to
for you.
instill in our kids is that financial literacy. If I knew the things that I knew
that's what
20
we
years
need, a credit
ago,
person to
I
get
would
on
be
here.
a multimillionaire because
Yep.
I had stock in Microsoft, but I
Mm,
got tricked into selling it. Only thing I saw was the amount of money I was gonna get that day,
Right.
not
mm,
the fact that Microsoft was getting ready to take off. You get what I'm
Mm-hmm.
mm,
saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm.
And that's one thing that I try my best to instill in my kids, that value that credit score. It is
You got that
important.
right.
No matter how
So
much
important.
money you got in the bank, that credit score
Mhm.
is always
But if
important.
they were business owners, they can just live off their business credit.
Or the business,
I live off my business credit.
business
I don't
credit.
live off my personal
I
credit.
want to live off my business credit.
You can do that. I can
Mhm.
show you how. How many trade lines you got on your business?
Huh? What?
What? Okay, let's have that talk.
What you say?
Uh-huh.
What you say? Say it again.
How many trade lines do you have on your business?
I don't know what that is.
Okay, that's why we need to have another conversation.
Honey, I told you.
I was
Well,
just pumped to be able to get a credit card on this business, and
And you're
I
going
w-
to. I'm gonna show
and
you
they
how.
said
and it's
I
very
already got
easy
one,
to get business
so
credit.
I was pumped. Hmm?
It's very easy to get business
Yeah.
credit. They give you
It was
business
not. You had,
credit, they give you
you had to
personal
wait.
credit.
You had to wait a couple of years. No, I didn't want it attached to my
Well, you
personal.
don't have to. I mean, there are ways that we could talk about later, but there are ways, the things that you could put in place
Well,
to get it like right away.
I got another business, and Niecy like I think everybody done told me like, chill out, calm down. Nah, because I got these two. This is it. I got to do this one. I've been wanting this, and it really is a pleasure for me. So that's
Mhm.
why I'm gonna do it, because I'm gonna spend money on it anyway. So I might as well have a business where somebody could pay me to have fun at my business.
That's
So,
right.
but
That's right.
with the other business that I had, because I had realized that this summer, because me and my son went on some activities, and I just like every time we go to this activity, I'm just like spending this money.
Right.
It was expensive. I said, you know what? I walked away right after we did that. The second time I walked away, it was like, I'm buying this company.
Good for
This is
you.
over. Like, I am buying it. And I'm like, where am I going to do it? But anyway, so I actually was looking for some of the merchandise today. But anywho, with that said, I got this business that I wanted to start coming in January. And I was like, so I can be ready for the summer. And one of the things that I was trying to work on was my business credit, because in order to do this, I would rather just take a line of business credit to purchase the merchandise that I need for this. And then possibly, the place, I guess, that I would need to, procure in order to have people come in, stuff like that. So,
I'll
and
send you a
locations.
cheat sheet. I'll send it to Niecy. I have her email of some trade line companies that you can sign up for right away. You should get their tier levels. So tier level 1, you want to start with tier level 1 before you go to tier level 2. And then some banks that you should be associated with that would work with minority small businesses to help them gain credit and things like that for their business.
And it's
I'll
an
send it to you.
involved thing right now where a lot of companies are wanting to spotlight female Black-owned businesses in their stores. So, like, the iron is hot, sweetie.
Mhm.
I'm going to do what you've asked me to do. But I do really want to start this other business too. So I'm going to get it all done. But I am going to start this business because I want to get it done by summer or whatever. And I'll tell you about the business afterwards, because I don't need nobody. Go ahead and start this business. I'll be one of the only Black female owners of this type of business.
That is
So,
awesome. Congratulations.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I got to get done and get that business loan.
Existence.
Yeah. Well, yes, I'm gonna get this business loan. Everybody now, that's another thing. So, we spoke about the Jugosh thing, right? And then we spoke about the different contracts and stuff. And you mentioned the 1099 versus being a prime, right? But one of the things that people have mentioned to me on the business side, right, is like, hey, you're gonna get this other business, but you can't even. And I know my goddaughter's at least gonna watch this video, so but I'm gonna go ahead and say it. So, but I can't get my goddaughter or my son to officially like do some real work for me. You know what I'm saying? Because they feel like, oh, I don't want it to be handed to me. I want to work for this or that or whatever. But anywho, one of the things that's being mentioned to me is like, how are you gonna find people to work your business and you're just starting off, I guess, as a business? Like how you were saying, you want people who are established.
Right. So there are a lot of hiring companies out there that you can go to, Indeed and some others. I have some personal friends that have recruiting companies that I use. So some of it is word of mouth. I'm in a lot of networks where, I know a lot of professionals with different type of skill sets. So we do like put the word out or we advertise it. So if you're working with another company, say you're a sub to a prime, the prime would also help you because it's their best interest as well. They don't want to see you fail. So they give you people as well. I have other friends that have companies. They give me people. So there's different ways that you can go out and find people. It just depends on the skill sets and what you're looking for. But you definitely probably want to be attached to some kind of hiring company. It's a fee. You know, you pay a fee for it, but it's worth it. It's worth it because
Because
you'll get
they say it's
skill
hard to
sets.
find people now that everybody's remote, like myself. Because
Right.
I know people will contact me and be like, "We got this job in DC."
Yeah, but I think most
want
of the
remote.
jobs these days are remote. I mean, I don't think I can't remember the last time I left home to actually go to a meeting. I just turn on my computer and
I'm trying to tell you.
yeah, Teams, Zoom, whatever.
If people are effectively working from home, I don't see why they shouldn't let them stay home.
Right. I agree. I agree.
Somebody tried to contact me about a job in DC and then another one in New Jersey. I was like, block. Let me block you. You are disrespectful because I want to work remote.
Yeah.
I'm not leaving this house. But I did have to, when that's one of the things actually, and I know this isn't acquisitions or, anything, but business related work. That's one of the things that as a remote worker, though, today I woke up and said, so let me start back. What I typically do, I might turn on some concentration music or something on Alexa, you know what I'm saying? Go to sleep to some beach music or something. I am surrounded by beaches. So this morning I woke up and was like, I'm going to the beach and I'm going to sit on the beach and study for this exam instead of sitting in my house and playing the music that sounds like the beach.
Right.
So I literally, the fact I think that I've been remote for so long has made me a little bit calmer. I really sat on that beach from like 9 to 5.
Oh, really?
Like,
wow.
In my little chair.
Well, people have a tendency to be very calm and productive in atmospheres that makes them comfortable. And that's why people have been so productive working at home, you know?
Yes.
And I don't think a lot of people are going to go back. Only your essential workers are probably going to go back to work. But I think everybody else, I mean, it's been proven now, and you can actually be very productive working from home.
It's so sad to say because, COVID, it was such a thing that affected everybody. And it's a horrible, thing that still has a grip on us. The thing that I've realized or that I feel like the world has realized during COVID is that you don't have to be forced to go everywhere. I don't even have to be forced to go to the doctor anymore. I can literally call my doctor and be like, I'm on a virtual
conference. I just had one with my doctor.
Right. Like I had another doctor was like, I can't wait to see you. And I was like, baby, you ain't never going to see me. You are never
you do
going
have to go in for some things, though. You really do.
Oh no, this is a counseling session.
Right. Yeah.
You're never gonna see me unless you want to Skype me or something or Zoom me or Teams or something. But I'm never gonna come over there. Like that's a waste of gas. I had to go to chiropractor, but that is across the street. You know, I don't know if you grasp the laziness of the situation, but yeah, that's across the street.
I hear you.
I got a lot to do. But anywho, no, I think with COVID, like we did realize, we need to stay. One of the company that I had worked for is actually sending their people. I just found out they're sending their people back, I guess, this week coming up, which I was totally unaware of because I'm quick to be like, I don't know. I've never been there. I'm not going. So I don't know what anybody else is doing. I'm going to be here, and I think standing your ground on that is something that, something that people should do if that's what you want to do, and then they'll keep these things around. But okay, so since we've kind of obviously overpassed our time, but I do have another, I'll go ahead and ask this question of what you guys' thoughts are. So one of the things that's happened to me on the business side, right, of not working for myself is people asking me, have I been COVID tested? So I don't know how do you think, well, like for you as a small business, are you concerned with that at all? Is that something that you make sure?
Tested, and I'm not going to get COVID tested.
Right.
Okay? I'm not going to take the vaccine. That's my own personal choice. I don't have to explain it to anybody, but it's my choice.
But now it's having to be explained, is what I'm saying.
Well,
how do you feel about that?
If you look at this week's news, that little bill that made it mandatory for federal workers got kicked out of court. Okay. So as you can see, that's the direction it's going to end. You know, a lot of the rules that came out, their decisions are being converted back, you know.
But in
And
the meantime,
my parents are, you know, they're tested, they got vaccinated, my sister, a lot of my family members. I come from a very holistic background. I do a lot of health, natural health stuff. I barely even take medicine. So, you
me
know,
too.
I,
I just finished
I'm
my
not gonna
kombucha.
you know, it's just my own personal, you know, I don't judge people. I respect people, but I also respectfully tell them that I'm not vaccinated either. So they have a choice to be around me or not. Right.
Agreed. I think that that's a nice thing to do. My concern is that I hear what you're saying about the bills.
Nice.
I hear what you're saying about the
That's
bills
so
being
good.
like kicked out and stuff like that. But so I'll give you a for instance, I had a friend who contacted me yesterday and said that he's being let go December 8th because he was refusing to take the vaccine. He had a lawyer and they cited, religious, beliefs. He's Christian and he's a deacon and all that. So what I said to him was similar, I guess, to what you said. I said, like, I didn't know about the bill, but I said, in time, my belief is that this is going to be an issue. This is going to be a thing that people get sued over. But in the meantime,
There's a
you
lawsuit.
can't
There's a
stop
class
these people.
action lawsuit out right now.
But
Those
these
who want to
people
do
are
it.
still asking, though. They're like, are you,
Well, let me tell you,
vaccinated?
my daughter, I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say, I mean, we're working for an agency as well that they told her she had to be vaccinated, but she's not inside. She's a contractor. And we wrote a letter. We wrote a letter on her behalf. But guess what? The government can't respond to it. You know why they can't respond to it? Because it's illegal and they don't have anything to cite.
Right.
Okay. So they just leaving it silent. So those people who say that they go and say you have it's mandatory to get vaccinated, they go get it done, then they have done their job. But those who refuse to, is nothing they can do to these people.
Well, because and I hate to say this because I do love my country, but that's the way the government works is on fear.
I know.
That's what I feel because
I know how to work.
A lot of people are like, I mean, your job is your thing that helps you pay your rent and take care of your kids. So if you're saying that you got to do something, regardless of how you feel, a lot of times in fear, you'll just go ahead and do that.
Right.
I mean, in the case of my friend in his situation, he has several things lined up. I call him my millionaire mentor because he has lots of things, like set up or whatever. So this is just like, we joke around. This is his hobby, his side job. You know what I mean? Thank you for the extra money. You know what I mean? So, but the fact that, right is right and wrong is wrong. So, when he brought this to my attention and we were just thinking of different things like, hey, what can we do, or what can you do to get this to kind of not be a thing that people are asking? And I thought the religious beliefs was going to be the thing. The thing that upsets me is that I personally feel if it was that he was Jewish or anything else other than Christian,
they would have approved it.
They would have been in fear and they would have approved it. But because he's a Christian, they're like, where? Like, what's the,
So he must be working for a company, not the government, because they can't address it. They don't have, there's no law out there to address it, to say by law, you have to do this. All this is the document that said we made it mandatory, and that got thrown out of court.
So what they ended up coming back and saying to him, because it's a weirdo type of place. Like when I worked there shortly, I thought it was government. Everything looks government, but apparently it's just a large government contract. It's one of the largest out here in this area. So, if you're familiar, it's everybody like works there. So what they ended up doing was they said, and this was the get around, I guess, was they said, all right, so the only thing we can do is test you every week. That's the mandate. Okay. But they said, but we're not willing to put forth the money for that.
Why? They should. I just feel like,
if it's your mandate, why not pay for it? Like,
they're saying as a company, we're choosing not to.
You always want to stay in compliance. So when you're a government contractor, you want to be the first person to say, oh no, we all in compliance. All my employees are in compliance.
That's what it is.
And who is that to please? Who is that to please? Like, you don't disrespect who I am and my beliefs and what I believe in. I don't even take the flu shot. Okay.
Me either.
None of that. I'm not going to inject none of
I
that.
never took no flu shot. I just don't believe in that flu.
And I have a lot of people angry with me right now because I'm not vaccinated. No, people who love me to say you need to go, and I'm just not going to do that.
I
Me personally,
still don't know.
me
Well, I'll
personally,
tell you this for
I'm not
me.
against anybody who does it. You know, I
Right.
respect it. I'm happy for you, but I've done a lot of medical, holistic things on my own over 30, 40 years. You know, I don't even take an aspirin,
I don't
Tylenol,
believe it.
antibiotics if I don't have to. I'm not taking any of that. So
Well, all
because
my
it's
customers and
vaccine I'm supposed
like
to take.
Niecy, sorry, all my customers and stuff, like everybody knows I'm very natural. Like, I believe in, I like I said, I wake up, I sip my kombucha, if I have some sort of issue, I love a good black charcoal for any sort of intestinal, like, I mean, I'm super into everything natural, including my hair. But one of the things that happened for me was, and I was ready to fight the battle, baby. They told my son he couldn't go to school unless he got the vaccine, and I was like, oh, it's going down. We're gonna do this because you're not gonna force us to take this vaccine. My son was like, it's fine, whatever, I'll take it. I was
Well,
like, what?
you got to remember at the beginning of this, and I know we gone way off the track, but when COVID came out, when this thing first came out, they had to do something, right? So that's how this medicine got on the market without getting FDA approved and something, because they had to please the people. We got a problem, we need to fix it. Let's do something quick, right?
And
So
that,
they didn't care. They didn't care the impact to your body or what it was going to do.
My
They
problem
did
with
not care.
that's my
So now
problem
you're
too.
seeing people, nobody talks about the people walking around with blood clots or just drop dead or whatever the case. You don't hear about that. You just hear about, oh, that person wasn't vaccinated, and that's why. No.
Right. What are their other issues? Right.
Now this FDA approved, so at least you can say, like, I went to the doctor one day and she said, oh, your cholesterol is real high or something. Go to, take these pills. I said, well, let me just go pick up the medicine and see what it is. Well, I pulled out the paper, and the paper was long as my table.
It tells
all the
you
things that would go wrong with me if I took this medicine. So I called the doctor back. So I'm going to take this.
Right.
So what I'm saying to you now, at least you able, if it's FDA approved, you able to look at the label and say, well, it's going to kill your kidney, it's going to break down your liver, at least and you taking it at your own risk. I'm not willing to do that for me.
For me, I mean, like I said, my son, he was like, he just said, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the vaccine. And I was like, I thought we were kids, like me and both my boys, and when he decided to take it, I was like, I'm not going to fight it if he doesn't want to fight it. But I was like, look, if you want to fight it, you already know how I am. We will fight this thing. I'll go to whoever I need to go to.
Take it.
But
even if my kids decide, I'm not against them taking it. I'm just saying me personally.
Well, so for him, when he ended up taking it and he went to school or whatever, months later, somebody said something to me and I was like, you know what? I'm not really wanting to do this. Honestly, was like, I'm so tired of hearing about this thing. Randomly one day I was like, what? They got the shot at Walgreens? I went to go pick up my prescription one day and I was like, all right. I said, y'all did a shot here? They said, yeah. And I was like, is there a line? They said no, and I was like, okay, well, I'll just come in. I'll be right in. Because I said,
look, go public with, tell people I'm not vaccinated. So
well, I have told people this whole time that I didn't take mine. And so that's the only reason why I bring it up now, is because since the beginning we've been doing lives, I was like, I'm not going to take it. I had no desire to take it. I don't feel like people should be forced to take it. I don't feel like you should be asking me if I took it. Even when a guy asked me the other day in reference to a job, have you taken it? I said, well, first of all, I don't feel like you should be asking me. Even though I took it, I'm like, I don't agree with the rushing of the thing. It's FDA approved. I don't know if you're familiar with what was that thing, Metabolife? Metabolife was FDA approved, and then people were dying and everything. It was natural. You remember?
Right.
And there ain't no way it was natural, because I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I knew this girl who was humongous, okay? And she ended up being like instantly 40 pounds thinner within like a month or two. And I looked at that when I first saw her when I was younger, and I was like, girl, this is not natural. Your whole head shape, you can tell you shouldn't be that size.
It was supposed to be a natural relaxer on the market back in the day. The guy used to come on and eat it.
No,
Do you
what?
remember that?
Mm-mm.
I forgot. It was an infomercial, but it was a guy used to come on and say he had a natural relaxer, honey.
No, ma'am. I don't remember that one at all. I'm gonna have to look that up.
People still bald from it.
No. So I just say respectfully,
Mhm.
I do not, it does not bother me to know that someone's been vaccinated, and I respect their wishes to
Mhm.
be vaccinated because I don't know their situation,
But how
what
do you
they,
feel about companies asking
I have
employees
a problem with
if they
it.
have been
I,
or
I
that
have
they
a
should
Go
be?
problem
all
with
out.
it
I'm
too.
writing letters. I'm going all out. I'm sorry. I feel like
Yeah,
you do. I have a
mhm,
problem with it.
yeah.
I go to a venue now and somebody say, "Where's your vaccination card?" I want to
Mhm.
see every
Oh,
employee's vaccination card is in your venue. How
I'm
about that?
I'm trying to tell you
Right.
that's me. Look, when we had the mask and everything, and it's not the fight, it's really just the laziness. But I had walked into McDonald's and I forgot my mask in the car, and I'm looking behind the counter. There's a man without a mask, and the lady was like, "Ma'am, you have to have a mask in here." Girl, that man standing behind that thing. Don't give me my food. Like,
Mm,
and look, and it's not about the fight. It was really just because I didn't feel like going back in my car and I was hungry.
right.
But
You
that's what it is
know,
for me. I just don't want to be forced to do anything. I'm not
Right.
anti-vax. I'm not anti-mask. I'm not anti anything. You can do what you want to do. I just think like don't try to force or yell or what I mean
Mm-hmm.
anybody to do what you think is right.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, as a nurse, I was real big into researching all of these vaccines
Mm,
before, they came on the market and stuff. And I just had a problem with all of them. And
mhm,
I take something that's akin to chemotherapy every 6 weeks. And for ever since the beginning of this up until my last appointment, my doctor was like, I'm not sure. Whenever I asked, should I take it or not? And for the first time, they was like, go ahead and take it. And I've really been debating that in my mind because they haven't improved the vaccine from the vaccine going through warp speed. Um,
mhm. But
they
we
just
talked about
they
that, remember?
improved it.
But we
You know what
talked
I
about
mean?
how the pharmaceutical companies pay the doctors, you know what I mean, to encourage you to take certain drugs. And with this huge push, I was like, I'm not gonna take something that every time I turn on the radio or something, they're like, have you taken a vaccine? Show us your card and you can win $1 million. Like, is
Mhm.
that what we're doing?
Right.
No.
Right.
There's no way. Like that makes no sense to me. You know what I'm saying?
But
So
see,
to me, with the government pushing it on their contractors and their federal employees, and there being this massive push right now, I feel like the doctors are definitely receiving incentives from the companies to go ahead and encourage people to get those vaccines.
mhm,
Because you're right, there's been no
Well,
change.
yeah, no doubt. I do believe that some people should take it. Right. I
Some
do.
people,
And I've heard some stories where people said, I've been in the hospital for months and months and
mm,
months with COVID and I almost died. And, I'm very
okay,
I
sympathetic to those
had
stories that I hear. And I knock no one who takes it. I'm just saying,
right.
me personally, my own personal belief for
I
me,
had
not even
I
for my
had
children. I can't
cousin
even speak for them. I'm
19.
talking about for
Right.
me.
Right.
I had cousin 19 at the very beginning of this.
I think we
And
all,
um
Oh, I know I
but
did.
if I hadn't
I've
if
been
I
real
wasn't a
healthy.
nurse
I have never been diagnosed with
and,
COVID.
and,
Ever.
and, and my I wasn't a nurse and my husband was a nurse, I would be dead right now.
But I think I may have
Had I
had
not have
some.
a husband, I would be in dead because I would have went to sleep that night. But he
Right.
made me go to the hospital. Um, I just think it was totally weird how this dropped out. And y'all, I'm not gonna get into controversy because then they're gonna take down the video and
Yeah, I don't
say,
want to get into it either because I might
you
lose some
know,
confidence.
um, but
I
all
ain't
I'm
gonna
gonna
lose
say
nothing.
is,
I might lose some
all I'm gonna
business. I
say
don't want
is,
to get into it.
I went to New York City and I was in um right where the ball dropped in Times Square, and it looked like I go downtown in my little city.
Oh yeah, it was
There
empty.
won't nobody there.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm looking around like
Hmm.
something is not right.
Right.
all the cars, all the people you normally see, they weren't there.
Right.
And I told my daughter, I said, this made me feel uneasy. Like, we need to go back to Boston ASAP. You hear me? But I got it on that trip somewhere between Boston and New York City. I actually stayed in the hotel across the street from the UN. So, I was in there with multiple nationalities and stuff like that. I picked that hotel because I thought it was the safest one for that time of year, because they had bomb sniffing dogs and everything in the lobby. But I just feel like it was something really strange. All the celebrities and a whole lot of people were gone.
Yeah, I'm still cautious about my surroundings and places. I have chosen now, like, I'm not going to go. It's
It's
not
like
worth
I
for me to
got
go, and
heightened awareness.
I'm just not going to do
Agreed.
it.
For me personally, especially at the time, I was like, I'm just going to do things the way. First of all, thank you. I've been waiting my whole life to tell somebody to stand 6 feet away from me. Like,
Right.
boom. You be at the gas station in line and you be like, but now I could be like, the sticker is over there, over there. That's me. Sticker. Anyway, but no, I've been waiting my whole life or whatever. But then also, I think now it just gives you, I wouldn't say it gives you people like who don't have a problem like washing their hands and stuff like that, which is what I thought in the beginning. I'm like, you gotta tell somebody how to wash their hands. Like, I'm lost. But to me, it just gave me an excuse to step up my OCD game, I guess.
That's
Just like,
right.
oh, hit the door, wash your hands.
That's right. That's
You know
right.
what I mean? Don't you touch that elevator. Like, every time you touch something, maybe, I don't know for me, but I do see some people that I feel like take it a little too far. I went someplace with my son and his friends and another family. And the little boy had on the little plastic gloves, you know what I'm saying? With like the food gloves. And they were like falling off. They were too big. And so did both the parents. The thing that kind of I always thought was weird is that you got these gloves, but come on now, just the gloves are not a force field.
Touching.
Yeah, you touching everything, you still touching yourself, so it's the same. I'd rather not have the gloves, so I know there's no barrier. You know what I'm saying? Like, every time my finger touches something, my mind, and maybe because I'm just like this, I'm like, it touched it. Like, now when somebody put money in my hand, I'd be like, oh, they touched me. They touched me.
Right. That's right.
I was washing it anyway because of the money, but now you touch me.
Money is one of the got the most
Dirtiest.
on it.
Yeah.
Right, I was washing it anyway because of money, but I felt that finger touch me. Like, I'm over here, like, just drop it in my hand. Drop it in my hand. They'd be like, oh.
But yeah, y'all, this whole thing of surrounding this just really had me like going down a rabbit hole with all the information I was trying to feed in my system. And I finally told everybody, gave everybody a list after I fought it and didn't know what it was, of things that if you get it, don't rush to the hospital. Follow this right here. And that's what saved me. I had to start thinking like a nurse and stop panicking. Like, what is this?
Right.
All my tests were coming back negative, but my O2 set was down in the 70s. So I'm like, something isn't right here. And we finally put it together what it was, but I know I was responsible for starting it here in my little city.
Right.
What?
I'm one of those, people that they could connect as far as who got it from who. Because I'm pretty sure when I went to my doctor's office for my follow-up, it was 2 people out and then one person that was there sick and was coughing. So I know I personally got it started at my doctor's office. And it's just weird because even before then, since I take the medicine that I take, I always wore masks. But for some reason, when I was in New York, I don't know whether it was vanity or what, up and down the streets, I didn't wear my
I
mask.
need the people to see me.
I didn't wear my mask. I didn't. But the whole time I'm on planes and the airport and everything, I always had my mask on, even before this happened, because of the medicine that I take. And like I said, for some reason, when I was in NYC, I wanted spotlight on me and I have a ride, baby, and that's probably where I got it from. But
Well, I'm going to have to depart. I'm so sorry. It's
We're
been
all gonna
so
go.
We
It's been a
way
while.
over time. We
yeah,
way over
it's been
time.
so nice meeting you both, and thank you. It's
Mhm.
been an honor to be part of this platform. I'm glad I was able to support you all.
We had a guest tell us she has to go. This is the first time.
I'm so
Right.
sorry. I
But
am
But you
I've
know
been
what?
ready to go. I
No,
have
it
said
was
like
like 30
9
minutes
times, let's go.
ago.
so
But Tink got invested, and I like to see
right,
Tink invested. So
But
that's why
bye.
I let it go on.
right.
We all leaving at the same time. Bye.
Thank
Like,
you so
no,
much.
just
Y'all
kidding.
take care. Stay in touch.
No,
All
we all
right,
go.
y'all, we're gonna end this.
Yeah.
Thank you all for joining us. Miss Alice, you definitely have to come back over here and bless us again with some more
Thank
gems.
you.
Thank you so much for coming on. And
Yeah.
we're gonna go, y'all, and thank
That's
you for
it.
tuning in. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.